And then the outside horse, the number 8, Contessa Lusso, with Nakatani riding for his brother-in-law, Craig Delassie here. That horse had 2 months off, needed the last race, got shuffled back and checked a couple of times, but probably not as good as these. So again, the horse to beat Jam and Jelly. I hate to pick a favorite. I'm on the never-ending quest to beat them, but I'm going to have to in here.
Okay, they're parading now. We'll let you take us through these runner by runner, Joanne.
All right, we're looking at the number 1 here, Little Ballerina for Doug O'Neill. Iggy Puglisi, very strong rider from Argentina. The number 2, the favorite, Jam and Jelly at 2-1. That's a lukewarm favorite. You wonder why. That's actually good money if you're looking at 2-1 on her. The number 3, Golden Tip for Janine Sahadi, the best female trainer, the one with the best record that is. She won a Breeders' Cup race. Number 4 running off for a quick breeze here, Monica Luxury for Barry Abrams and Martine Pedroza. Martine, another rider who loves to be out on the lead. The number 5, Noveto for Henry Moreno. Lafitte Pinkai Jr. This is a Sunland Park shipper coming in from New Mexico for this one. The 6, Air Force Woman for James Chapman and Garrett Gomez. Garrett, a very strong rider in these parts. I wonder about the fitness of that horse, though. The 7, Curious Marlene for Mel Studi and Alex Solis, who's already won 3 today. And the bottom horse, the 8, Contessa Lusso for Craig Delassie and his brother-in-law, Corey Nakatani. Closing out the field.
As they head around, Joanne, we might take a look at the track map for the start position at Hollywood Park. Now, they start at the 6th furlong, which is 1,200 metres, so 6.5 furlongs, I should say, 1,300 metres, so between the 6 and 7 furlong start points. And you were saying that the post position or the barrier draw becomes all important?
It does when you're coming out of that chute, because they put up a temporary rail across the main track, and the horse on the rail kind of feels like they're falling inward from what I've heard from the riders, and they cross the temporary rail, get back onto the main track, and they usually lose a length or 2. You don't see that every time, of course. They don't all get left at the gate, but usually they do. So you've got Little Ballerina at a bit of a disadvantage there. Jam and Jelly probably being in the 2-hole will be okay. That horse has a lot of speed to overcome, so let's just hope Jam and Jelly gets out of the gate without a problem.
Air Force Woman, I'll throw in my tip here for the consistent racehorse at 5-2. You're keen on Jam and Jelly, Tony?
I'll go for the bottom weight, Brendan. Contessa Lusso by Prize, who has had a bit of success in the early part of his career, and ridden by Corey Nakatani, so she's got a bit in her favour.
Yeah, prized, beautiful looking Chris S horse, stands Southern Hemisphere. Same stud where Grosvenor stands in New Zealand. Fayette
Park, that's right, and actually prized sire, the winner of that race we've seen earlier, Greg Childs going around in. So, yeah, he's kicking a few goals over there.
So we've got 8 minutes until 7 minutes now till post time. It's still 2-1 the number 2 and 5-2 runner number 6, which is Air Force Woman. Joanne, how about other moves on your betting figures?
Well, Air Force Woman is a horse I'm not going to play today. James Chapman, not one of my favorite trainers here. And when you look at the way this horse has been running, and that win back on March 12th, ran a very strong race, winning by a neck. The rating dropped off considerably on my speed numbers that I make on that next effort in April. In that second, dropped off a lot. Took a month and a half off, came back with a couple of slow works, ran a pretty dismal third with the figures dropping off again quite a bit, about 4 or 5 lengths off of that one. He seems to be regressing to me each race, and there have been no works since May 20th indicating what the past performances and the drop in the speed ratings indicated to me already, that this horse might be a horse with problems. So when you're looking at a short price like 9-5, I'm going to try and beat a horse like Air Force Woman, because sure, maybe the horse could win, but as the figures indicate and the lack of workouts indicate, this race may be the horse's last. I'd rather take 2-1 on Jam and Jelly, even though I hate betting 2-1 as well.
Okay, Joanne, Tony, there's some scratchings have just come through for the June Stakes program in Sydney today. Fine and slow the track, glorious day, chilly morning.
Yeah, well, that's right. Winter's on its way, isn't it, Brendan? But, yeah, hopefully Renwick plays all right. It's just a bit harder for tracks to dry out at this stage of the year, isn't it?
We'll get weather and track for Brisbane, Melbourne and Adelaide as soon as they're through, and we'll take you through these scratchings around 9 a.m. Eastern this morning. 2-1, Jam and Jelly, 5-2 for Air Force Woman. And you're going for the bottom one here, Contessa Lusso, Corey Nakatani's ride. will race in the gold with the Black Diamond.
Yeah, she'll start from the outside alley, so she's pretty easy to pick up, eh?
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye as we approach post time, which is now 4 minutes away, 19 minutes away to the next of our Golden Gate races. Some time throughout this morning, also hoping to catch up with Michael Rona, the Australian race caller, who now calls Hollywood Park home, and doing a great job there. You'll be hearing his voice over the next few weeks on our Trackside USA coverage. Also hoping to catch up with Melbourne's Hayes stable foreman Gary Fennessy and John Size, Randwick's leading trainer Barry Baldwin. And big days racing this afternoon. What do you like in the lottery, the Stradbroke?
It's a real lottery, isn't it? I'm a bit of a pleasure giver fan, I suppose, Brendan, but I would love to see Juggler get away with it. He's just been a terrific campaigner for so long. And obviously he's in the twilight of his career these days. Gay Waterhouse has got to space his runs. He's never really been the easiest horse to train with maturity. But nice and fresh. It's not beyond him to steam up late.
The statistics don't give Juggler much hope this afternoon.
Yeah, well, you know the old saying about statistics.
They're there to be broken, or records are there to be broken.
Statistics mean nothing if you're on the wrong plane.
Now, Joanne, as we approach start time at Hollywood Park, are there many female jockeys in the United States? We don't seem to hear much about them.
There are, but it almost seems like the best female riders are on the hunter jumper circuit, possibly even the steeplechase circuit, and not so much on the flats. You had Julie Crone, who was far and away our best female rider in the United States. She won a Belmont Stakes, many races, but she'd had so many accidents, and her first passion was riding the hunter jumper, so she recently retired. Around here, probably the only regular lady jockey you'll see riding would be Joyce Scott, but she has a rather low percentage, maybe 4 or 5% win percent at Hollywood Park and on the year. She's one of the ones that usually goes to the lead and tries to hang on. We don't have a strong lady rider out here right now, which is too bad.
Is there much being done to encourage females into the riding ranks in your part of the world? I know we've got quite a few very promising young lady riders in Australia.
No, there are no ad campaigns out there seeking all short women to come this way. No, there aren't. But like I said, you see the female riders with a lot of strength and talent tend to go on the hunter jumper circuit. You see more female riders up in Northern California, Coco Strausser, a few others that ride the county fairs, but they're unfortunately rather weak. I'm right there to embrace any female rider that can do the job, like Julie Crone. She looked like a guy in the saddle. She kept her rear end down and she rode the horses. The problem that a lot of the trainers have with the female riders out here is a lot of them are very weak. They ride with their rear ends in the air and seem to get in the way of the horses, and I tend to agree on a lot of the ones that you see. So the best of them, Julie Crone, is not riding with us anymore, and we'll keep you abreast if we see any new ones coming in.
Okay, just one point, Tony, I think we should make about, for the viewers tuning into Trackside USA for the first time, you'll notice that the barrier positions in America called post position is exactly the same as the runner number of the field.
That's right. As the acceptances are declared, obviously horse 1 comes up with alley 1, and so it goes out to whatever number of runners we have in each race. It's a different setup to what we have out here, where you have the horses go into a drawer and they pull out the numbers and then pull out the alley.
So they're not, the fields in America aren't necessarily in order of weights as they are here.
That's correct. Well, this race here we've got set weights for everything. They're all carrying 115 pounds, which I think is about 53 kilos or so. But yeah, with handicap races we'll often find, say, tab number 6 carrying top weight, so just be careful of that when we start to have betting on US racing in three weeks or so.
Well, let's check in.
Your Air Force woman just looked pretty good in the glance that I got of the horse on the track. Noveto, the number 5, the Sunland Park, New Mexico shipper, is looking pretty sharp down there on the track. You can see her now going to the gate. She's got Lafitte Pinkai, very strong finisher in the saddle. And that one race that you see by Noveto in New Mexico was a very strong effort, and that would be the only price horse with a little outside shot in this race. Something interesting that Greg Childs pointed out about riding these horses from the moment they get out of the gate. Maybe I'll pick that up after. We're going to hand this over to Michael Rona now for his call of the 6th.
Little Ballerina coming up now, followed forward by Noveto. Jam and Jelly Gate number 2 now sharing favouritism with Air Force Woman. 2-1 for each of those fillies. Air Force Woman's coming up now. Golden Tip finding her spot. Curious Marlene. Solis looking for 4 on the day, but he's on a long shot this time. Monica Luxury and Contessa Luso, the last 2 into the gate. Ready. Racing. Jam and Jelly away nicely. Little Ballerina seemed to stumble just after the break and is back near the rear with Golden Tip. Jam and Jelly sent forward by Flores is the clear leader. At the completion of a furlong, she strides 2 in front of Navetto, followed by Contessa Luso, a length and a half Air Force Woman. 2 lengths to Curious Marlene, who's very wide. Little Ballerina picking herself up, is getting through to midfield now. Followed second last by Monica Luxury and 3 to Golden Tip. It's a strung out field at the half mile, led by Jam and Jelly. She's on a clear lead again. In fact, it's a 5-length advantage for Jam and Jelly over Navetto and Contessa Luso. 2.5 to Air Force Woman. A length and a half Curious Marlene racing outside Little Ballerina. 4 lengths Monica Luxury and a length and a half to Golden Tip. 5/16 to go. They're covered by 11 lengths. Jam and Jelly coming back to them sharply. Navetto secures the rail. And 3 out Contessa Luso. Jam and Jelly quickly defeated. And at the top of the stretch, Contessa Luso takes up the running. A half length Navetto. A length and a half Air Force Woman coming into the picture. Little Ballerina back on the rail. Then Curious Marlene near the 16th pole. And out deep on the course, Air Force Woman claims the lead from Contessa Luso. Navetto on the inside. Monica Luxury running strongly late down the outside. A chance for the exacta. But Air Force Woman wins the money from the fast finishing Monica Luxury. Contessa Luso ahead back third. Followed by Navetto, Curious Marlene, Golden Tip, Little Ballerina and Jam and Jelly last.
Jam and Jelly popping out of that gate, going to the lead in extremely stiff fractions, 21 and 2, 44 and 4, looking for a taxi cab down the lane as she faded out of it. Everybody kind of coming at the end in a very slow final time of 1:17 and 2 when Air Force Woman wins it with Contessa Luso second.
Yeah, impressive, Gee, they ran some time early as well with Jam and Jelly on toast. Early.
Yeah, well, that's right. She was jelly-legged down the straight, wasn't she, after setting those sort of fractions? Boy, oh boy.
So it's 6, 4 and 8, as you can see. Started 2-1. Monica Luxury, that was a black booker. Flew home late closer, as Joanne would say, 21-1. And in third position was runner number 8, which was the heavily backed, and your tip too, Tony, Contessa Luso.
Thought she was home on the bend there, Brendan. She was just about to cruise up and put them away, but she couldn't go on after that lead. Jam and Jelly went mad.
So that's their win pools. There was a win pool of 175,000. Joanne, is that right? On the pools currently on screen?
Looks like 175,000 indeed.
Is that a good size win pool for your part of the world?
It's a decent one. They were jamming it in on the number 2 and the number 6 in here, and you know, as we saw, Jam and Jelly faded out of it. The 6-horse held together for one more win for James Chapman there on the outside. Yeah, it's a decent size pool.
Okay, well, the next race we'll be looking at, Golden Gate, is due in 11 minutes from now. So as they approach the line, Air Force Woman, Garrett Gomez, successful by Proud Irish. Irish River horse out of a Kennedy Road mare, She's of Royalty, Californian bred. Successful in race number 6, which is the third race we've covered this afternoon for you, or this morning our time. I keep getting confused. You expect the races to be run in the afternoon. Now, Golden Gate is the next race we'll be covering. It's the 7th on the Golden Gate card. It's the 4th race for coverage here. And as we check in with the full field, 10-1 Lady Muskoka, 23-1 Fra Cadfael, Sizzling Summer, Dennis Cartwright, 17-1 Risky Twilight. It's all the rage, 9-1 on Risky Twilight by Devil's Bag horse. Very quick, 1 start, 1 win, Russell Bays Road, and was successful on that occasion with that great strike rate, 24%. Desert Bloom at 25-1, War Devil 12, Sprucity 17-1. Doesn't look to be too much risk about Risky Twilight, Joanne, except for its very short quote.
Exactly. Like I said, I'm not a fan of picking a favorite, but I think you have to put Risky Twilight on top. The horse has all the speed, should break out of the gate, and hopefully not do what Jam and Jelly just did here at Hollywood Park and expire. But looks like Risky's going to go on and go, what do you call it, barrier to wire here, or you call it wire to wire?
Barrier to box, we call it in Australia, or from go to woe.
Okay. Well, we learn something new every day. Maybe we could take a look at them. I think the horses are on the track right now up at Golden Gate.
Okay, here we are, Joe. And now Lady Muskoka, the top one, can run some time, I understand.
Lady Muskoka has gone 21-4, 44-2 in the past. Cesar Bisono likes to get out there and jam with his horses. Again, you've got the rail post at 6 furlongs. Because of the size of the racetrack, the 6 furlong is coming out of the chute up at Golden Gate. So this horse will have to truck on out of the gate in order to catch up to Risky Twilight, who is the horse to beat, I believe, out of the 4-hole. A horse I think we should take a look at is the number 6 horse, War Devil, for Howard Belvoir and Agapito Delgadillo. Delgadillo does like to send. The speed this horse has shown in the past has been on a sloppy off track, so I'm hoping they don't send this horse today. But I'd say
Michael Rona alongside Joanne Jones. Michael, great to have you along for the coverage. How's things?
All right, it's quite a journey from the broadcast box on the roof of the grandstand, but pleased to have made it for a few minutes, Joanne.
Now, tell us about the differences between Aussie racing and American racing and how you've made the transition.
The transition was difficult. There are so many differences in terminology. I know we speak the same language, but there are many expressions that have entirely different meanings, and I found that it was a case of really having to kill off some lifelong habits in the first couple of years. Just for example, the word hang in Australia, a horse hanging, means the equivalent here of lugging out. But here, the word hang, I think, Joanne, you'd agree, means a horse not getting to the line, not finishing its run.
Exactly.
And so there are many examples like that. Just the fact that a race meeting in Australia is one day, here it's a collection of dates, it's a whole season. I'd want to get on the PA and say, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's meeting, and people would be wondering, what's this idiot on about? So it really was a long transitional process, but after 9 years, hopefully, I've pretty much got it down, and the Americans know what I'm carrying on about. Hope you don't mind my calling a little slower, mate.
Good to see you haven't lost the Aussie lingo. Now, you've been a bit of a journeyman since you've been in America, but Hollywood Park is now your permanent home, which is wonderful, and I know Tappy sent his regards.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And it's all because of John, of course, that I made it to the United States in the first place. And it was a real honour to have the chance to work with him. He certainly assisted in my transition. He was here calling the races for a couple of weeks. I had the chance to call the big race that he broadcast that was at that time called the Hollywood Turf Handicap. It's been renamed this year the Charles Whittingham Handicap after the great trainer who passed away recently. And it was quite a tingling feeling to have the chance to call that race 9 years after we were originally here. It's an amazing thing to have come full circle after a decade.
Now, Michael, you called up in Northern California. You were in Chicago for a while as well, at the famous Arlington Park. What do you see as the biggest differences between Northern and Southern California? Maybe you can give some tips to the fans in Australia.
Well, I can tell you that Northern California is a prettier area. It's preferable for living as far as I'm concerned. But this is where the best racing is. This is a collection of arguably probably the best variety of horses that you'll get in the world, because we do get a lot of European turf horses that come over here, and as well as, of course, the great speed in the dirt races. So this is perennially one of the top circuits in the country, and with all due respect to Northern California, which I enjoyed very much, this is where it's happening as far as the top echelon.
Okay, they're moving in, Joanne.
Coming into the gate. Maybe, Michael, I think you wanted to say hello to somebody very quickly down in Australia.
Yeah, any number of people that I know potentially are watching, but I know one who definitely is, because he excitedly contacted me after the show last week, and he's celebrating a birthday today. Many happy returns to David Schultz, sitting back in his living room with his kids, Troy and Christy. Good on you, Shortner.
And the horses are moving in the gate. We're sorry we didn't have much more time with you, Michael, but maybe we can get you down here another time later in the meet.
Thanks, Joanne.
Michael Rona, get back up there. We don't want to miss you for the next race. They're moving.